Hey, what's up you guys? So today I want to talk about LDN. That's going to be the topic for today. If you don't know what LDN stands for, it's low dose naltrexone. I'm going to tell you what it does in your body. I'm going to tell you my experience with it. I will explain how to get prescribed LDN. I'm going to talk about all of that in this video, and if you have any further questions about the specific topic, you can leave it down below. Before I start talking, I want to have like a small disclaimer that I am filming this in the morning and I happen to have a little bit of brain fog, so if I stop at some point or I'm like a little bit like not here, that is the reason why. And I know that if you have fibromyalgia or a chronic illness, then you can understand that part or that symptom. Mornings usually tend to be a lot harder for us, at least for me and a lot of people I know. So first and foremost, LDN is low dose naltrexone. Naltrexone in its normal form, it's prescribed for people that are addicted to drugs in doses from 50 milligrams to above. And what it does is that it doesn't permit the patient to actually feel the effects of the drug. So the reason why you go and take drugs is to get a high from it. And basically it doesn't allow that to happen. But in low doses, it does something completely different. It actually stops the production of endorphins in your body for a specific amount of time. And then your body is pumped into producing up to 300% more endorphins. So endorphins are the happiness hormone that is produced when you exercise, when you have sex, and overall when you feel happy. That hormone is being produced in your body, and that is why you feel happy. So a lot of people were saying like, okay, so if it does produce the happiness hormone, then it tackles depression. Yes, but it also tackles other things, because endorphins have been proven to actually help with other symptoms as well. Low dose naltrexone has been used in a lot of autoimmune diseases, not only fibromyalgia, but lupus and what's it called, RA, and other autoimmune diseases that I've seen online. I don't follow all of them, all of the support groups, but I do know that they happen to be prescribed LDN and that it betters their lives. Now, something that I wanted to talk about, I'm going to talk about afterwards how to get prescribed and where to find the doctor and all of that. But before that, I want to talk about how LDN works. LDN is not a normal medication. I don't even consider it really a medication, because I don't feel like I'm taking anything in particular. Like, I don't feel drugged. I don't feel any different than myself. I just feel like a better version of myself. And I don't have any side effects from it. So it's really like taking nothing, which is amazing, which is one of the reasons why I want to take this forever, because I honestly see the benefits from it. I continue to see benefits from it, and I just overall love it. And it's the reason why I talk so much about it, because it's helped me and other people I know so much that I really, really, really want other people to know about it. And I know that not everything works for everybody, but this works so well for me and has continued to work so well for me that I really wanted to talk about it. And I'm an advocate for LDN. I really, really love it, and I talk about from personal experience and from other people that I've seen how it's changed others' lives. So I want to talk about, let me see, sorry, my brain is like so scattered today. I want to talk about how it works and how it's different than other medications. LDN is something that is tailored to everyone very differently. Like, everybody's body is different, your body reacts differently, and so this medication will react differently to everybody. I take it at night, and I know a lot of people that take it at night, but for some people it doesn't work and they have to take it in the morning. Some of the side effects that can occur from taking LDN, if the dose is too high, you might get a little bit anxious. You might get a flu because when you take LDN, it's rebooting your immune system. It reboots your immune system and helps it work better. So you might get a cold, which I happened to get right after starting it. Anxiety, a cold, what else? Vivid dreams. But these side effects really are nothing in comparison to the medications that they're prescribing for fibromyalgia. I'm talking about the medications that are in the market right now that are being prescribed to people who have chronic illnesses and who have fibromyalgia. Their side effects are crazy. Like when I talk about LDN, I really don't mention side effects, and I say it really doesn't have any side effects because getting a little bit anxious or having a vivid dream or getting a cold seems completely insignificant and something that doesn't even register as a side effect to me because I had the side effects from other drugs that were prescribed to me. I had side effects from Cymbalta, I had side effects from Lyrica, I had real side effects. I'm talking about involuntary muscle movement. I'm talking about having like allergic reactions in which my tongue was like triple the size and I could barely breathe. I'm talking about rashes. I'm talking about migraines. I'm talking about almost going into having seizures. And like, it's just, those are real side effects. Getting some anxiety or getting a cold or getting some vivid dreams are really insignificant in terms of like what this medication really can do for you. So that's something I wanted to put out there because it's super important. And basically when I was talking about the dosage, it's very important for you to know about how this medication is different because a lot of people give up before giving it a full-on try. So taking a higher dose of LDN doesn't mean that you're going to get better results. It doesn't have to do anything with weight, with your age, with anything. It really has to do with your body composition and how your body reacts. So basically, I'm going to put an example. To get my body to produce 300, 400% more endorphins, maybe I only need 0.5 milligrams. And that's enough. That's enough of a dose for my body to block the production of endorphins for that specific amount of time that it will create the most amount of endorphins. But maybe my dosage is 4.5, and maybe a man who's, 300 pounds and is 6'4", only needs 0.5 milligrams. So I want to make it known that it doesn't have anything to do with your weight or anything, or your sex, or in particular your condition. Like you can have you can be in a worse stage of fibromyalgia or other chronic illnesses, and that doesn't mean that you need more of a medication, because it really depends on how your body reacts and what it actually needs to inhibit the production of endorphins enough so that your body is able to react and produce more endorphins. Now, I know that this might be a little bit confusing, so I'm going to try and explain it with another example, because even I got like messed up while talking about this example. So basically, if you take like some people, they usually start at 1.5 milligrams. That's supposedly the minimum, and that's the dosage I started off of. But that doesn't mean that that will be the right dose to start off your journey, if that makes sense. A lot of people start at 0.1 milligrams. A lot of people start at 0.05 milligrams. I usually tell people to start at 0.5 or 1 milligram and see how they feel. If they're feeling anxious or they're feeling too just nervous and overall they're not feeling that great, then I will like tell them like, okay, maybe you have to go down like 0.5 or something. Like if they started at 1, I would tell them to go down to 0.5. But basically that's how it works. Like you literally have to listen to your body and know what it's telling you. I started at a 1.5 and right up about the next day I was feeling so different. Like my mind was so clear. I didn't feel depressed for the first time and I don't even know how long. Like I really felt so different. Like I was like, this is working. And I get like so emotional thinking about it because for years I was struggling with depression and feeling sad and not feeling okay. And I was never able to understand the reasoning why. And by taking this and seeing that it helped, I felt that I had found something that could finally help me. And that is the reason why I am sharing it with you guys. So, anyways, what I want to put out there is that maybe that there's a lot of way of taking LDN. There isn't like one specific way. There isn't one specific dose. So you literally have to play around with the dosage until you get to the point where you want to be. I'm at 4.5 milligrams, but to get here, I worked my way up very slowly from 1.5 to 3, and then from 3 to 4.5, I went up by 0.5 only. And this is something that took like a month between every single time that I would go up. But I really listened to my body. Like I heard what my body was telling me and I understood that I could potentially try a little bit higher dose and see how I felt. So I went up and I saw that I didn't get any negative effects. I was like, I feel good. Like, okay, I think next month we could go a little bit higher and see if this is my dose or if my dose is a little bit higher. So really you can play around with it. You can miss a dose and that's completely fine. It's not like you're gonna get any, backlash effects from your body because you didn't take it one day. It's something that you really have control over, and depending on how you're feeling, you can play around with it so that it's better tailored to your body and your specific needs. So I hope that that is clear, and if it wasn't, then please leave your questions about it down below. And I'm so sorry, I'm just trying to do my best to explain it to the best of my ability. But it is very important that you understand that having a higher dose doesn't mean having better results, and that if you don't feel completely okay when starting, like, please don't stop. Like, just try and work with it a little bit before you give up on it, because I know a lot of people that it's taking them a couple months to find that sweet spot where it's their perfect dosage, and they take it either half of the dose in the morning and half at night, or all in the morning or all at night, or even 3 times a day they divide their dose. So it really depends on like you and your body and what you need. So I hope that's clear. I want to leave that on the side. I want to talk about how to get prescribed LDN. So LDN is not prescribed by your regular doctors or practitioners. A lot of doctors, if not most of them, don't know about LDN, and because of the amount of lawsuits and possible side effects and all of that, they're really precautious about going into researching themselves or giving you or prescribing you a drug that they know very little about. And that is something about their own protection and their practice, which I understand to a certain extent. But as I said, this isn't a normal medication. I told you about the side effects it has, or that it can have, because I had no side effects whatsoever. Like, I didn't have any anxiety. It actually took my anxiety away. But I did have the vivid dreams and the cold that I told you about. But I will talk about that at the end of the video. But first I want to talk about how to get prescribed. So basically, LDN is tailor made depending on the amount that you need, which involves then that you would need to find it in a compound pharmacy, not just a regular pharmacy. So when I was wanting to get prescribed LDN, because I actually found LDN on my own, doing my own research, I went online to compound pharmacies near the people that I know lived by. My mom lived in Canada. I have an aunt that lives in the US, because I knew that I wasn't going to be able to find it in my country because I live in the Dominican Republic. But I searched upon compound pharmacies near them, and then I started researching if they sold LDN. I actually called and I asked if they made this specific medication, and if they said yes, then I asked for a list of doctors that prescribed it. And from that list of doctors, then I started to research on every single one of them. I started calling, I started asking around, like what was their specialty, if they prescribed it for specific autoimmune diseases, or if they were just prescribing it to treat things like depression or anxiety or things like that. Like, that's super important, because you probably want to go with someone that has a little bit more knowledge about autoimmune diseases and that has worked at least with some of their patients in terms of like having fibromyalgia and things like that. You would want someone that is knowledgeable of your illness. But in retrospect, I would go with a doctor that has a lot of experience with LDN, because if they don't, they won't understand that your dosage, the dosage system that I just talked about, that it isn't a perfect science, that it isn't a perfect dose for specific people with a specific weight or gender. Like, it has nothing to do with that. It's about your body composition and what you need. So it's super important that this person knows all of that, because if not, he or she won't be able to take you through the process the correct way, and they might even give up because they don't know to the extent that you can play around with this medication until it works for you, because it usually works for most people. And I really, really, truly believe that if it didn't work for someone out there, it's because they didn't try, like, experiment enough with it. That's just my belief, because I know a lot of people that have tried it and that it's worked for them. But I know that there's a lot of misinformation. I know that a lot of people don't know that you can really play around with the dosage and with the time of the day that you take it, and that you can actually separate the doses in between different times and take it during different times of the day, instead of just taking like a full dose every single day. You could take, like what I explained before, you could take 2 to 3 doses, smaller doses, until you get to the point of the actual dose that you need daily. So a lot of people don't know that. And I think that because of the symptoms about anxiety and things like that, and increased anxiety, that it might make them want to stop taking it because they don't feel like it's working for them. So I completely understand that, but I wanted you to kind of grasp the idea on why it sometimes doesn't work for some people. So finally, and I'm telling you, this brain thing is bad. Brain fog, bad today. Finally, I want to talk about my experience with LDN. I started, as I said, at the end of 2016, and I started at 1.5 milligrams, and I felt really good. I had no symptoms, no side effects about after taking LDN. except for vivid dreams. And that lasted around maybe 2 or 3 weeks. Actually, I didn't have any bad vivid dreams. They were all really cool, and it was very strange because it all seemed so real. But I didn't have a particularly bad experience. I know that some people have bad dreams and they're very vivid and they complain about that, but that was not my experience. I went up from 1.5 to 3 milligrams, and I did this fairly quickly because I felt like I was very well at 1.5, so I went up to 3 actually very, very soon. Like in a matter of days, I went up to 3, and I was feeling great at 3. I then, a month into that 3 milligram dose, I went up to 4.5, and that did not work. It was too much of a high jump for me. So I had to wait some time. At 3 milligrams, I waited for a couple of months before going up again, and I knew that I had to go up the dose by very little, because from 3 to 4.5, it was too big of a leap for me. And I knew that it wasn't gonna work. I was feeling anxious and more tired and more fatigued from going to 3 to 4.5, and I just knew that it was too much for my body, and I went back to 3 and stayed there for a couple of months. And then I went, as I said, from 3 to 3.5, then to 4, and then to 4.5. And as I said or stated before, I went up because I felt okay. And when I went up from 3 to 3.5, I was completely fine. I waited some time, like a month, before going from 3.5 to 4. I went to 4, everything was fine. And then I waited some more time to go from 4 to 4.5. And that's when I got a really bad flu again, because I believe that it resets, as I said, your immune system. And I got a really, really bad flu. And then I was like regretting going from 4 to 4.5 because I was so well and I was feeling so great. And now I have like this horrible flu, blah, blah, blah. I was venting to my mom about it. And she was like, just stick it out. Let's see, if you don't feel that great in a couple more days, then we'll just go back to 4 milligrams and you'll just stay there. So I, kind of went with it. And after the flu was gone, I felt even better than at 4 milligrams. So I was just like ecstatic. And that is the dose that I'm still at today. And I want to talk about the effects that it's had on me. I've suffered from depression from my adolescence. So much time, like so long ago, like over 10 years of depression, treating with all different kinds of antidepressants and other medications and anti-anxiety medication and other things. And I never felt like any of it worked because I don't particularly think my depression was linked to a chemical imbalance in my brain. I just think it was, I was sad because of the autoimmune responses that I was having, and that I wasn't actually having like the nutrients that I needed, because I don't absorb certain vitamins the way that I should. And I overall think that my body was very down because of the state that it was in. And since starting LDN, even at 1.5, like I started LDN at 1.5, I went to sleep, and the next day I had no depression. Like, that's just my experience. I know it sounds crazy, but I didn't feel depressed anymore. I was completely fine. I was completely happy. I was overall, I couldn't even believe it. I thought it was a dream, to be honest. I woke up and I felt like positive about life for the first time in my life. And that's when I knew that LDN worked for me, and that I was going to continue taking this because I finally found something that worked. And going back to that day, I oh my God, like story time. But going back to that day, I woke up after sleeping for so many hours. It was the first time that I finally got some good sleep. Like, I don't even know how many months it had been since I had slept. And I remember my mom doing laundry and doing things around the house and waiting for me to talk to her. But I was in this trance. Like, I sat in the living room and I was just like shocked. I didn't understand like how I could feel so different. It had only been a couple of hours since I had this medication, and I was like dumbfounded. I didn't believe it. And it took me a while to get out of it and snap out of it and tell my mom, like, it worked. Like, I feel so different. And we both started crying, and just thinking about it makes me teary-eyed because it's really hard to see anyone that you love go through difficult times, and specifically trying to find ways to make them better, and nothing works. And this wasn't a couple of months kind of thing. She'd been dealing with my depression and with a lot of my issues for years, and nothing worked. And then finally we try something and it works. And it was a relief, and we were so thankful. And it is one of the reasons why I talk about LDN so much, because I had such a positive experience with it, and it's changed my life, and it's changed a lot of people's lives around me as well, which is why I feel like it's my duty to share my experience, because if someone else can get relief, like I have gotten relief with a medication, then like, and I can share that with you, and you can get that information from me, like, because you couldn't have gotten it another way. That makes like what I do so important. So besides taking my depression away, it also took my anxiety away. Not completely, because I still get some anxiety times, or I get some anxiety at times, but it's a lot less than it was before. It's in specific situations, or when I haven't slept well, or my quality of sleep hasn't been the best. My quality of sleep has gotten a lot better too. I felt like I never rested before. Now I feel like I can get some rest. My autoimmune response is a lot better. I don't get sick, and when I do get sick, it's very, very mild. I was getting very sick all of the time before starting LDN, and since I've started it, I've gotten sick maybe 2 or 3 times, and they haven't been like really bad. Like, I've gotten sick off of people that were really, really bad, like had a really, really bad flu, and I would get like, you know, a little cough here and there, and I would be okay within like 2 or 3 days. So I know that it works, and basically that's what I want to put out there. I hope that this video wasn't too confusing or too all over the place. My brain, as I said, is a little bit scattered today, but and I'm a little bit emotional too, which is why I've cried like 3 times in this video. But if you have any questions about what I've talked about, please leave them down below. I'll be glad to answer them. And just know that you can count on me, I try to answer everybody as soon as I can. I know that being ill with this sickness is not easy. I know because I go through it, and the reason why I have this channel and this platform is so that I can share things that I've done or that I continue to do and see that they help me and other people around me, and by sharing it, maybe someone out there can get relief from these tips or from the things that I'm doing. And that is my purpose, and I feel so amazing by just being able to put content out there that people can relate to and they can feel less alone from. Because when I got diagnosed, I felt like I was alone in the world. Even people who I loved dearly, I saw them leave my side because now I was sick and I couldn't do just things that I was able to do before. But it also brought me to understand who my real friends were and who were the people who really loved me for me. So it was also a blessing in disguise. And I want you to look into your life and not only think about this illness being something completely negative, look at the positive it's brought to you as well. And know that you're not alone, and that you can do this, and that you're very, very courageous and strong. And by sticking together, we can get through it all. So that's basically it for this video, guys. If you have any questions, please leave them down below, and I for sure will answer as soon as I can. And I love you guys so very much. Thank you for your support and your constant love and messages. I will see you in my next video.